Hey, what's up? You may remember that we tested the KAMRUI E3B mini PC last year on our channel Tech Brothers. We have this computer again, but this time it is equipped with a different processor, the AMD Ryzen Embedded V2748. According to the manufacturer, it has better performance than the previous mini PC with the AMD Ryzen 7 5825U. You know, I was able to play some medium and even heavy games on that mini PC, and I even called it the best mini PC for gamers on a budget. The new computer based on the AMD Ryzen Embedded V2748 should have higher CPU performance. However, it has the same AMD Radeon 7 graphics, so I expect its gaming performance to be similar. We'll check this out in this video. But let's start by unboxing and looking at the design of the new KAMRUI E3B mini PC. You know, we have 3 new computers from KAMRUI, and they all have the same packaging design. If you want to know, this mini PC runs on an AMD Ryzen 7 7745HS, and this one on the Intel Core i5 12600H. There will be separate videos about them on our channel later. As for the KAMRUI E3B, we can see on the back of the box that it comes with 16 GB of RAM and 512 GB of storage. When we open the box, we find the mini PC, user manual, and 2 packages. The first package includes a power cord, an HDMI cable, and a VESA mount. While the second package has a power supply. This is the standard package contents for most mini PCs. Let's move on to the design. In short, the new KAMRUI E3B mini PC looks the same as the previous model, including shape, materials, color, ventilation openings, and connectivity options. The only difference I noticed is the absence of the AMD Ryzen 7 5000 series sticker, because the new computer is powered by the different processor. The AMD Radeon graphics sticker is still there. You know, I still like the design of this mini PC, with its rounded corners and texture on the top panel. The company logo here also looks very nice. Do you agree? The KAMRUI E3B mini PC comes with a triple cooling system, such as high thermal conductivity aluminum sheet, a built-in fan with 2000 RPM, and enhanced heat dissipation of MOS inductor. On the outside, the computer has the same ventilation openings on the sides and bottom, but it is possible that the cooling system has changed on the inside. We will try to check this out when we take the case apart. We will also check the fan noise level a little later in this video. As for the interfaces, there is a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C port, 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-A ports, 3.5mm audio jack, and power button on the front. The back panel has 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A ports, as well as 1 Gbps RJ45 port, DP 1.4, and HDMI 2.0 ports. DC power is also available here. So this computer probably has more ports than any other mini PC I have ever used. You can connect many peripheral devices to it via USB-A ports, for example, keyboard, mouse, printer, webcam, etc. The mini PC also supports connecting up to 3 monitors via USB-C port on the front and the display port and HDMI ports on the back. I am pretty sure this computer will meet most of your connectivity needs, so you will not need an additional docking station. Okay, now let's take a look inside this mini PC. First, we need to remove the 4 rubber feet from the bottom and unscrew the 4 screws. Next, remove the bottom cover, and here we see a metal plate. This is the first level of the cooling system, namely a high thermal conductivity aluminum sheet. We also need to remove it to access the internal components of the mini PC. that's what we have here. One M.2 2280 SATA drive with a capacity of 512 gigs, as well as one DDR4 RAM with a capacity of 16 gigs and a speed of 3200 MHz per second. We can also install a second SSD in this mini PC, such as NVMe PCIe 3.0 SSD or SATA SSD. A single drive interface supports up to 2 TB of storage, so this mini PC can have up to 4 TB of built-in storage. There is also a slot for the second RAM disk. The computer supports up to 64 gigs of RAM, which means 2 32 gigs disks. The cooling fan is located on the other side of the board, but I don't want to remove it. I can show you a photo of what it looks like. The fan is really big and it should keep the computer cool. By the way, we will check its noise level a little later. Okay, now let's move on to the most important part of this video, the performance of the KAMRUI E3B mini PC with the AMD Ryzen Embedded V2748 processor. First, let's check the boot time. My computer booted up in 22 seconds, but you know, the boot time varies by a couple of seconds every time you turn it on, so that doesn't really say much about its performance. The mini PC runs on the Windows 11 Pro operating system. The good news is that it is legal and activated. You don't need to buy Windows separately, which is quite expensive. When I first turned on this computer, there were software updates available, and I installed them all. It took quite a long time, but it had to be done. You are probably considering a mini PC because of its power efficiency and quiet operation compared to full-size computers. On the CPU benchmark website, we can see that the typical TDP on the AMD Ryzen Embedded V2748 is 54 watts and TDP down is 35 watts. However, my computer consumed only 2-3 watts in standby mode and up to 25 watts during a stress test. This kind of weird, because my numbers usually match those on the CPU benchmark website. As for the fan noise, I cannot hear it at all. Neither in standby mode nor during a stress test. The fan only turned on when I started playing games, but even then, the fan noise only went up by a couple of decibels to around 40–41. So this is a very quiet and power-efficient computer. By the way, remember I said that the boot time of the computer doesn't really indicate its actual performance. You can actually install a good SSD in your computer and it will boot up in just 10 seconds. This mini PC boots up a little slower because its SSD reading and writing speeds are quite slow, 491 megabits per second and 463 megabits per second, respectively. I would recommend installing an NVMe SSD in this computer with a speed of at least 2000 megabits per second. Now let's test the CPU and GPU performance of the KAMRUI E3B mini PC. The new model of this computer comes with an AMD Ryzen Embedded V2748 processor. The company claims that it is better than Ryzen V 2650H and Ryzen 7 5825U. We have tested the computer with the Ryzen 7 5825U, so I want to compare them. To my surprise, the AMD Ryzen Embedded V2748 has lower performance than the Ryzen 7 5825U, both in single-core and multi-core tests of the Geekbench 6. It also shows little lower scores in Cinebench R23, Passmark, and PCMark benchmarks. Both processors feature the same integrated Radeon graphics, so I expected identical scores in the 3D Mark benchmark. However, even here, the previous computer we tested had higher scores. So it seems that this picture is not true. In my tests, the AMD Ryzen Embedded V2748 performed a little worse than the Ryzen 7 5825U. However, this is still a good performance for a budget mini PC. I called the previous mini PC on the Ryzen 7 5825U CPU the best option for gamers on a budget. Let's see how the same games run on a mini PC powered by an AMD Ryzen Embedded V2748 processor. I set the settings in all games in 1080p resolution and low graphics. It's really comfortable to play all these games on the KAMRUI E3B mini PC. It seems to me that CS2 and Once Human run even more smoothly on this computer than the previous one. It is definitely smoother because the average FPS in Once Human is about 25, and it was about 13 on the previous mini PC. So this computer is good for light and even medium games. However, this mini PC is probably designed more for home and office tasks than for gaming. For example, you can watch 4K videos on streaming services such as YouTube, Netflix, and others. As for multiple tabs in Google Chrome, I have noticed that the video lags a little when you switch to a new tab, but after a while it plays smoothly. I think if you install a faster SSD, you will not have these problems. The KAMRUI E3B supports dual-band Wi-Fi 6, and it has 104 megabits per second download speed and 102 megabits per second upload speed. This is the maximum speed my internet server provider offers. You can also edit videos on this computer. What's more, exporting a 1-minute video in 4K resolution took 1 minute and 11 seconds, which is even faster than on a mini PC with an AMD Ryzen 5748U processor. Since the computer comes with the official Windows 11 Pro, it has Microsoft 365 pre-installed with the all popular Office apps such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. So what can I say about the KAMRUI E3B mini PC on the AMD Ryzen Embedded V2748 CPU? It is supposed to be more powerful than the mini PC with the AMD Ryzen 5825U, but I ran some benchmark tests, and their results are slightly lower. On the other hand, gaming and video editing are even better on the new computer. This is a little strange, and I don't know how to explain it. In any case, for its price of around $350, this mini PC offers very solid performance for most tasks, such as light and medium gaming, watching 4K videos, video and photo editing, and more. I also like that this computer has 2 RAM slots, so you can expand it up to 64 gigs, as well as 2 SSD slots with support for up to 4 TB. There are also many ports available for connecting USB devices, as well as 3 monitors via HDMI, a DisplayPort, and a USB-C. By the way, this mini PC's slogan is built for stability, not just speed, and it describes it perfectly. Thank you for watching this video. See you soon!